So, I mean, yeah, I'm willing to go whatever direction. I like structure wise, I don't know. So I'm just following your all's lead, and I watched
Sounds
the movie.
like
I think
sounds
that's
like
a good intro.
yeah, that's a good place to start. We just sort of start wherever and we're in it now. Hi everybody, it's
That
November.
that's the podcast. We're in the podcast now.
We're in the podcast now. It's my month of movies.
Happy birthday,
Because
Gordon.
thank you.
Happy
It's
birthday!
by the time this is released, it will have been a couple days ago. But for now, it's not yet. That's the joy of recording podcasts in the future. Or in the past. It depends on how you look at it. It doesn't really. I just sort of said that. Hi, everyone. We're talking about Cast a Deadly Spell today, a movie that I have, from the very get go of this podcast, been fascinated by just on premise alone. Like, it's a good log line. It really hooks you in. It's a 40s set noir with magic and Lovecraft stuff and an interesting cast. The poster looks cool. I thought this was gonna. I mean, it's still an okay movie. I mean, not okay. I think it's a good movie with some elements that are very dated, for
Yes.
various reasons.
Oh man.
But I would still ultimately come away from this as with a recommendation with some asterisks.
That is the best way to describe it. I went into this movie not expecting much. Like yes, the cool log line and there's a good cast, but it's just like, oh, 90s TV movie. That's kind of it's a neo-noir and with magic. It's like, yeah, it could be cool, but also could be really boring. But I as we got like halfway into this movie, I was on top of the world. Like, this is the best movie we've covered. It is gorgeous. It is like just a delight to watch. But then a couple things happen, and it's like,
Yeah.
and it's like you describe it perfectly, where it's just like I would definitely recommend this movie with an asterisk. Like, I am going to have to spoil it for you to so that you don't go in like with like you go in knowing what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's a great first half and a messy second half, I think, is where I would come down on it.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
about you, Logan?
I think that's totally fair. I mean, not just the log line. I think the opening title card, like once it says Los Angeles, 1948, everybody used magic, and I was like, I'm in. I'm so in on this thing. And yeah, like you said, I think like 20, 30 minutes in, I was like, this is every scene. I want to know where this takes me. And then it goes in some places. But I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot to appreciate. And as far as a TV movie goes, I'm like, there's some impressive stuff for sure.
It looks really good. Eliza and I were talking about this last night. Like, this is the best looking movie we've covered.
Hmm.
I think, aside from maybe some janky VFX, which most of them are not. Most of the visual effects look really good. Most of the creature effects look really good. I'm
Absolutely.
mostly just talking about that gargoyle,
Sure.
which
I
is
I like the gargoyle.
it's funny, but it does not look good. And that suit that whatever guy they have running around in looks so just like goofy compared to like the like weird animal skull monster that comes out of the pot and the
Hmm.
big eldritch old one that comes out of the hill. Like, there are good monsters. Even the gremlins are like, they work for what they're supposed to be, but that gargoyle just, oh boy, I think it's intended comic relief that does not land, and so it just looks a lot worse because of it, because it's just sort of goofy.
I
Sure.
do think it's a little crazy that there's fucking gremlins in this movie.
Yeah.
And like they do try to make them look different from like the gremlins, but it's like they're just the gremlins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like, it's a good drop in there in the sense that it's like period accurate. It like fits the setting because it's like, oh, our boys came back from World War
Post-war.
II and they
Mhm.
brought gremlins back with them, and now they're fucking up. They're just like hanging out in hoods of cars because we don't have the same. I don't know. It was a moment where I was like, okay, is this going to be a Gremlins knockoff? Not really. It's doing its own thing with it. They're there for a reason. It justifies the use of Gremlins, I'll say.
Mhm.
Sure. Sure. I think,
Um,
like it's like the you mentioned the poster and like the poster like I'd forgotten kind of how goofy a little bit the poster is and how like some of those silly elements, including the gargoyles, but like just some of those things. So you get into the movie and it's like pretty serious, it's got the magic and stuff. And then yeah, then you hit those moments that are just like super goofy. And tonally, I think it's just a really interesting mixture. Um, that yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think for the most part, the effects hold up, or at least are charming.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's some good ones, especially like early on that sold me on like the whole
Hmm.
the like bathroom at the train station. That whole sequence I thought was really
Oh,
exciting
absolutely.
and really sold me on just like sort of in general. I mean, because you get the like fire that he throws from the tap
Yeah.
water, and then the swirling attack of newspaper money that like death by a thousand paper cuts. Even just like the makeup effect of the paper cuts all
Yes.
over his face as he falls to the
Yeah.
ground is really striking. Um, and one of my big issues sort of structurally with the movie outside of the other things that we'll address in a second is there was a point early on where I sort of thought to myself, I really hope this movie doesn't forget about the magic and doesn't like get to a point in the third act which a lot of these sort of gimmicky like you know semi not semi fantastical, it's a fully fantastical movie but it's grounded in a contemporary-ish modern setting.
Not
Not
contemporary.
contemporary but recognizable like a recent history setting. It's not, we're not set in like Middle Earth, we're
Yeah,
set
yeah.
in 1940s America. And there was a point where I sort of thought to myself, I really hope the third act of this movie doesn't just fall back on, you know, guns and talking. And outside of the Necronomicon, the third act falls back on guns and talking, and some magic, some other like sort of tertiary magic stuff going on. But it really front loads a lot of the big like magic as plot beat elements, and that was kind of a letdown in the third act that it doesn't have the same pace of like magic, which is what the movie sells it on.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like early on it was just like really exciting, like when you get the first hint you get of magic is when like the one cop guy like uses his hand as a lighter and lights his own cigarette,
Yes.
and it's just like I liked all those like little details, but like yeah, as you said, it's like as it goes on it just like it does get more plot focused. They don't really include as many little details, and it's more just
Mhm.
like the big stuff like the Necronomicon and like the big gargoyle and things like that.
Yeah,
Or
that's when
it's
that's when I thought it was really humming. Like just I feel like in that first act, every scene like had a little bit of world building in terms of like here's how magic is used, or here's how it's talked about, right? I think there's at some point David Warner's character like says like, do you believe in magic? So it's like that the fact that you could still like believe in magic in a world where it clearly exists, or like the kids casting the spell in the car.
yeah,
Yes.
that's
Just
fun.
like such a little like just like those just like everyday uses of magic in this world. I'm like, this I like, and I don't know if you all come across this with these TV movies from time to time, but this is one where I'm like this should be like a backdoor pilot for like I just want to like
Oh
live in
yeah,
this world for 7 seasons,
especially at the end when it's him and his neighbor are like the two people that come out of it.
Yeah.
I wanted to see a whole what was her name?
Yeah.
Hippolyte Kapotnik, right? I wanted
Hmm.
to see a whole Hippolyte Kapotnik and H.P. Lovecraft like spin-off show, like the Night Stalker, which we talked about, where it just
Hmm.
becomes like a you know monster of the week supernatural detective story. There was a sequel, which maybe someday we'll
Yes.
cover. There's a sequel with Dennis Hopper et al. Uh,
Written by Paul Schrader of all people.
Whoa, I didn't notice that. That's crazy. Well, we're talking about cast. Let me do the rundown here because we're just sort of going right into it.
Yeah, we.
Um,
I was like,
uh,
when were we going to do this rundown?
we're talking about Cast a Deadly Spell from 1991, directed by Martin Campbell of Casino Royale fame et al. Written by Joseph Doherty, starring Fred Ward, David Warner, Julianne Moore, Clancy Brown, and Alexandra Powers. Also with Charles Hallahan, Arnisha Walker, Raymond O'Connor, Peter Ellis, and Lee Turgeson. It was broadcast September 7th, 1991 on HBO. Airing opposite it on ABC, you had The Young Riders. On CBS, you had the back half of Police Academy 5 Assignment Miami Beach, and then something that TV Tango lists as Busted Pilot Mimi and Me, which is just a pilot that wasn't picked up, but it lists it under the title Busted Pilot and then episode title Mimi and Me. So when I looked it up, Google AI told me the busted pilot you were referring to is Madeline Mimi Tompkins, the first officer on Aloha Airlines Flight 243, which suffered a catastrophic damage mid-flight on April 28th, 1988. Tompkins, along with Captain Robert Schornsteimer, managed to make a miraculous emergency landing despite part of the plane's fuselage drooping off, which is not what I was looking up. I was looking up the pilot for the TV show Mimi and Me, which did not get picked up.
You weren't looking up pilots that got busted.
Yeah. Pilots whose planes got busted, and not even a pilot, the first officer. Anyway, on Fox, you had an episode of Totally Hidden Video and an episode of Best of the Worst. And on NBC, you had repeats of Empty Nest, Dear John, and Sisters. So that's what you had opposite this. I with all of these HBO ones, because TV Tango doesn't list it, I have to seek out the like HBO guide of the month from the time, and I always look through those hoping there's going to be something more interesting to talk about the guide, because it's there on the archives, and I looking it up for a reason, and it's really just here's what we're showing. Here's like it was like Presumed Innocent or Reversal of Fortune or something was the like the cover. Like this didn't even make the cover image. It was here's this other movie that we're showing on HBO now. So it just had a little like byline on the side of September movie of the month, Cast a Deadly Spell. But yeah, that's the rundown. It was like the script was floating around for like 10 years under the title Lovecraft before it eventually got made on like a $6 million budget, by the way. Like
that's really big. That's crazy, but that also explains why this looks so fucking good.
Yeah, but like for the time, it doesn't seem like I don't know. It feels like it looks like it costs more than that. I don't know. But yeah, that's the rundown. That's the info.
I just want to correct something I said. Witch Hunt it was not written by Paul Schrader. It was directed by Paul Schrader, which is still crazy, but a different way.
That is weirder.
Yeah.
That's it, that Paul Schrader, right?
Yes,
like
Schrader.
that one.
The same one that made First Reformed and Mishima.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
Hardcore,
And Hardcore, yes.
Of course.
And Blue Collar and The Card Counter and American Gigolo and Master Gardener, and I could go on, but I'm not going to.
The guy just makes movies. I mean, that was his movie after Light Sleeper. Like I guess he's just always going. Yeah.
Whoa. I do want to do that one at some point.
Yeah.
I want to talk about
also
Witch Hunt.
Eric Bogosian and Cheryl Lee Ralph.
And Penelope Ann Miller and Julian Sands and Valerie Mahaffey and Debbie Mazar and Clifton Collins Jr. And I don't think we said it, starring Dennis Hopper.
You did say that multiple times.
Okay.
No, well, I mean, yeah. How often does the sequel, like have more star power than the original film?
It recasts Fred Ward with Dennis Hopper. That's crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, that's where do we want to get into? I wanted to talk about the poster because I said the poster looked cool. The poster on Letterboxd looks cool because it's like Fred Ward's face in profile. There's really no hint that it's about magic. It's just sort of Fred Ward and then like a noirish silhouette of a woman's leg in the background, and there's cigarette smoke and everything. But the poster on Wikipedia is a very just sort of like plain Fred Ward who is in too much of a vacuum. Like there's too much empty space around him in this photo. You have a little cutout of David Warner pointing with a little light effect coming out of his finger. You have just sort of like miscellaneous JPEG like stock silhouettes of like bats and pentagrams and arrows and a snake and some other stuff going on. One of the gremlins is just sort of floating in space. And then you have some great pull quotes. A great way to spend an evening from Entertainment Weekly, and Imagine Who Framed Roger Rabbit with witches and zombies instead of tunes from USA Today. And then a great tagline and associated visual where you have an image of a gun, sort of like a cutout of a gun, and you have the line of the bullet coming out. then the bullet is getting intercepted by a magic wand that's doing magic on the bullet. And the tagline underneath it is the comedy detective thriller with very special effects. And very is underlined, italicized, and in yellow.
Yeah. See,
So
this
you
is where
know,
this is where
very.
I feel like again, like the letterbox poster, like you'd be thinking, yeah, maybe this is like a hard-boiled noir movie. This poster, it's like I feel like it captures some of the weird places that this movie goes sometimes in a way that is very fun, very VHS cover quality
Very.
to this. Yeah.
Oh, extremely. Yeah.
So I just want to say I have Letterboxd Patron, which means you can look at alternate posters you want your movie as, and one of these you get a very sweatier Fred Ward, just kind of like looking very defeated as he has the gargoyle like around over his shoulder. I think he has like the arm almost around him, and it has Cast a Deadly Spell above it, and it's just like that. I really like
Hell
that
yeah.
one.
Hell yeah. Let's talk about Fred Ward. Let's talk about our H.P. Lovecraft here. Um, the reason I invited you on to do this episode, Logan, because I consistently get Fred Ward and JT Walsh confused, and I know you're a big JT Walsh head. So I invited you on, misremembering that you are a big Fred Ward head. But
Wait,
I
is that
think he,
genuinely like you misremembered?
yes, I did. I mean, I caught myself before I asked, but at that point, I had already gotten into the idea of, hey, this would be a fun one to have Logan on for, and so I asked anyway.
Sure. You know, it's funny because I had told you that another movie that I watched in preparation for this is a movie called Defenseless, which was a theatrical release, but is also from Martin Campbell this same year, and of just a very sleazy legal thriller type of thing, kind of that era, starring Barbara Hershey, Sam Shepard, and J.T. Walsh. And like I'm like, ah,
There you go.
this is so up my alley. And the fact that Martin Campbell, again, someone who like is a name that I know from making blockbusters in the 21st century, made both of these movies in the same year. I'm like, ah, this is okay, this is a great kind of history. And I think, you know, yeah, Fred Ward, not someone I necessarily have a strong sense of attachment to, but he very much is like a quintessential that guy. And I think, um, I mean, I don't know how you all think, but I think that like in this movie, like as soon as he shows up, I'm just like, he has a face for this era, for like this thing. Like he's a man out of time, right? Like I mean, he fits in with the Altman movies and like with the stuff that he shows up in, but I think like he looks like he could have been, you know, a 30s, 40s bit player, you know, for a studio or something. And I think it's just really fun to see him just like have a chance to be like the guy in a movie like this.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever, starred in anything else, certainly not, that we know about nowadays that we talk about as a movie, but he's got good presence. He fits the like, the smarmy quip machine that this character is supposed to be. He feels at home as your like, down on his luck, hard boiled. The whole gimmick for his character, I don't think we mentioned, is that one of the world building things that I found was really interesting is that this is a world where magic is still new, is still like a relatively recent
Mhm.
development to society. It's just, in the same way that like, we would just, advance technologically. It's just we advanced magically. And he is very, steadfast against that. He doesn't use magic. He just uses his smarts and his gun. And that is an interesting character, and the movie sort of falls in line with that too much for my tastes. But I think he fits in well as this movie is sort of, you don't want to just make the Who Framed Roger Rabbit comparison like the one on the poster does, but he's not an Eddie Valiant type here
Yeah.
with that.
And I'm part I this just came to me right now, but it's just like, wow, this is just like a movie about like a world of AI, and we're just one person who doesn't want to use Chat
I was
GPT.
thinking that a lot. He's the one who's like, I'm not going to use ChatGPT for my work.
Yeah.
I disagree. It's very easy to sympathize with H. Philip Lovecraft in this movie in that kind of way.
The
Yeah.
fact he's HP, like I didn't even connect that like it was H.P. Lovecraft. I thought they just made his last name Lovecraft and like he had a random first name, but no, he's Harry Philip Lovecraft.
They keep calling him Phil. It's like a C. Montgomery Burns kind of thing,
Sure.
or other examples from the real world,
But
probably.
also,
But
Marlowe, Philip Marlowe, love. I did. I don't know. The Lovecraft, I felt like it was a little on the nose. I feel like I don't know. I don't know where Lovecraft's popularity was in the early '90s or what have you. But I was like, I could have got the references without having like the distinct like name, his name being this. But uh, but yeah, I mean, fun nonetheless. I think yeah, that Ward like again like it's I think that like the him being anti-magic, that is something that like, and I don't want to like get too far off the acting yet, but I do think like that's something that I was gonna ask you all about, and just like thinking about of like what is magic the analog for in this, crime noir setting? Like, is it organized crime, or is it this new technology that we don't know how to use yet, and that it's like setting the world on fire or what have you? And again, I think that stuff like on paper I'm so in. Like I'm so interested in like living in that world and going that. I think the execution is where it just kind of fumbles the bag a bit. But like everything that we're describing on paper, I think is just such a great setup for a movie. And I think his character being anti-magic, like I think it deprives us a little bit from like more magic being used in the movie. But I think it's just a good like clash of worlds and a good clash of perspectives.
yeah, yeah, there could have been a version of this where he is also using magic, and maybe that's just too much for the budget or whatever. But it works well enough on a meta level of giving us our contrasting perspective to this world, our sort of like point of view character that has to have some degree of relatability, and he doesn't use magic because we don't use magic, and so we can relate to him on that level. And also we don't have to write in a lot of ways that this guy can use magic. Yeah, I don't know if it's really if you can make a good one-to-one parallel with something. Apparently, in Witch Hunt, magic is communism, and it's set in the 50s, and
Oh,
it's like a McCarthyism thing. And magic is a direct stand-in for communist sympathies. So we'll see how that goes under the pen of Paul Schrader. But
well, it's actually not the pen. It is written by the same guy as this.
okay, the lens of Paul Schrader.
The lens
Sorry.
of Paul Schrader, yes.
You
Um,
absolutely should have me back on
oh,
Oh,
once you do
definitely,
that
absolutely. Like
movie.
we have
definitely.
to.
We're doing Witch Hunt, and we're bringing you back for it because, I mean, it's called Witch Hunt. I guess I should have put that together. That makes sense. Um, yeah, let's talk about the magic in the movie. Let's when it is used, I do think it's used really well. I do think there's some moments where it feels like, okay, we're like integrating this magic into the world in a way that feels fun and unique, while not feeling like it's going too far to the point that it's unrecognizable. Like it fits within the setting really well. The
Mhm.
like the opening scene where we're at the end of a previous case, and Lovecraft has a voodoo doll that was used to kill the victim that he's been investigating. And the moment where Clancy Brown like the bit with the lounge singer I thought was really fun, where the guy's trying to go get a record contract elsewhere, and so Clancy Brown casts a spell on him to like fuck up his voice, and now he talks backwards, and so he can't get a record deal. I thought there were just the little details like that that are not like plot relevant, but are just there for the sake of being there. Really did a good job of like beefing up the presence of magic, so it's not just shoot a light out of your hands and it like knocks a guy back or there's a monster.
I really like an early line that says, "Magic gives me the shakes what you can buy in this town."
Yeah, yeah. Charles Hallahan as the like chief detective there, as a Lieutenant Detective Bradbury, another
Of
another
course.
author name calling in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah.
He's got some good deliveries there.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I think that line like just is a good example of, again, I just like the way that like magic is kind of like talked about, like where you have like the world weary characters who are kind of like, back in my day before we had like this doll that you could like pull the strings on and all of a sudden like this kind of thing. And so it's and I think like starting with the voodoo doll is just like such a perfect thing. And then like was said earlier, kind of just like just lighting a cigarette with your hand, like such a small thing. Again, like not an important plot beat, but just like these are the ways that it's just integrated into everyday life. And of course, like for our plot, it is central, and that's where some maybe the problematic ways come into play as well. But I like again like every like just like in the background there would be like some small thing happening, and I really thought the movie just had a good attention to detail with that kind of thing. And yeah,
Yeah. At a certain point, the background magic does kind of just become things moving and
yeah,
things floating. Like,
yeah,
you know, the one that I did like a secretary approaches a file cabinet and the cabinet, like the drawer opens and the file shoots out for her to grab out of midair. I thought that was a fun, like, oh yeah, that's absolutely how we would use that in that setting. But otherwise, at a certain point, it just sort of becomes the spoon in the tea is stirring on its own, and the like the drink is shaking on its own, and the typewriter is typing on its own, and it like that is just what a lot of the background magic becomes, or it's zombies doing menial labor. It's one of the two, and it works, but it does feel like a little bit of a letdown that there's not more variety at a certain point, that we just sort of fall back on one particular type of using it.
There was one point where it's like I thought something was going to be magic, but then it turned out to just not. Um, so when we are first introduced to Julianne Moore, she's at the piano, and then it cuts to a
Oh,
shot of the piano. You see three hands. It's like, oh, is she using magic to give herself a third hand to play the piano? But then you see
it's just Clancy Brown.
it's just fucking Clancy Brown with one hand also played the piano.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, okay. It,
that would have been cool. That could have been like that. I thought the exact same thing too. I knew exactly what you were going to mention there. Yeah, that, because that could have been a fun way, like, oh, how does magic like affect the entertainment industry? How are we using that in like our movies and music and everything? Because we don't, even though this is set in, it's not in Hollywood, but it's like probably Los Angeles, right? I would imagine. I don't
yeah.
remember if there's
It's
any.
Los Angeles. That's
Okay.
the title card is Los Angeles
Oh yes,
19.
you're right. It does say
Yeah, yeah,
it does say that. Yeah, I
yeah.
even have that written down in my notes, and you said it out loud also.
I did.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
but yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a good moment that then ended up not actually being much of a moment. Um, Another one that I wrote down that's a good, just like sort of the world weariness. Back to Hallahan. He's like interrogating a werewolf at some point, and then when they're dragging the werewolf into the cell, he just sort of like lets out a sigh and goes, "I hate full moons." It's a great like yeah, how does magic affect, how do monsters affect crime? They have a
Yeah.
vampire that's locked up, they have this werewolf in custody that's not talking, under the like hypnosis light kind of for interrogation. I
Mhm.
don't really know what's going on there, but that was a fun moment.
Mhm.
I believe that that actor's IMDb picture is him as a werewolf, and it's just like maybe it's just his only role was
Yeah,
that, but yeah,
the guy that plays his lawyer that comes in, Hippolyte's cousin, also his only photos on IMDb are from this movie.
cool.
Because I thought he
Awesome.
was someone. I thought I recognized him, and I just didn't. Um, it's a
But
good supporting cast. It
yeah.
really populates it with really good character actor faces, and like this is a very pre-fame Julianne Moore in this part.
Oh
Like
yeah.
this is pre shortcuts. This is pre The Fugitive. This is
Mhm.
like Tales from the Crypt, the movie, or what? Or is it
Tales
Tales from
from
the
the
Crypt?
Dark
Tales from the
Side,
Dark
the
Side.
movie.
Okay. This is like very early Julianne Moore.
I think my
Um,
mom would say she was As the World Turns Julianne Moore at this
right.
time.
Yes,
So
of course, of course.
that
She's
was yeah.
great. I mean, she's
She's
always
great. Yeah.
great. It's Julianne Moore, but like really fits the like the Lauren Bacall mold of the
Mhm.
potentially dangerous, potentially, a love interest femme fatale. Very. She's also like, there's a point where she's decked out in like a full green dress and like elbow gloves, and obviously the red hair. I was like, she could have made it for a really good Poison Ivy, if
Mhm.
like in like a Batman the Animated Series sort of like
Yeah.
noirish Art Deco kind of thing. Like if they had gone that route, if they had stayed with the like the Tim Burton sort of way, like she would have made for a really interesting Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
Yeah.
that's a good,
She's
good
so
call.
beautiful in this too. Like
yeah,
so gorgeous.
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
It also just sort of speaks to how well the movie looks, or how good the movie looks. That like, the camera captures her really well, and that she's lit really, really strikingly.
Yeah, and I think it's also like there's certain moments, and I think that like the nightclub is just a really good set, and like it does what it has to do to like set that up, and she looks amazing. Clancy Brown, like he's doing his thing, and it's so fun, and I think like just seeing them share the screen together and whatnot just makes those scenes really fun. Personally, my like MVP of the movie was what's his name? Raymond O'Connor, the Tugwell, the
Yeah,
kind of the second hand for Clancy Brown.
Oh, him,
What a guy,
yes.
what a look for that guy. Like, where did
yeah.
this guy come from? Where he's shaped like a rectangular box and like like
He's so fun. He's the whole scene in the bathroom again where he attacks
yeah.
Willis. And I love the little notes of that where he's going about it so nonchalantly. He like finds the time to step on the like fortune teller machine and put in a quarter, and it says, "You are not overbearing, but generally have things your way," which was fun. And then he washes up, he wipes the blood off his face in the mirror and just goes boo and cracks the mirror, and is like,
I love that little
that
bit.
guy's great. What an unceremonious death. I wanted him to be there in the third act, and he just gets drowned in the bathtub. What a shame.
Yeah, it's not even a fun magic death. It's just he
I
just gets
know.
dunked in the bath.
I mean, it's magic in the sense that it's done by a zombie, which I did really like that zombie heavy. I thought that, I mean, the makeup was really fucking gross. It
Sure.
is like gnarly ass zombie makeup. It is not just sort of like gaunt, pallid, like lumber. Like it looks like a dead body.
Yeah.
And it's really like the first time you see him when or I guess when
Well,
when when Willis is like dropping off the fake Necronomicon, like
yeah.
really fucking freaky.
That's what I was gonna. 'Cause I feel like that's like the first time we see like a zombie or a creature, or like something like that kind of like other kind of being, and like you're not really expecting it, even though again we've been getting used to the world, but it's all in those little small ways. And like here's this guy who, especially compared to Tugwell, where like they purposely like make them half of the height of one another, right? And so he's like
Yeah.
double the size, those eyes, like you said, just very grotesque and just great, yeah, great makeup.
Yeah, really great makeup work throughout the movie, with an exception. But yeah, I really okay. I have a question. This plot doesn't make sense, does it?
Um,
Like once we know at the end where everyone's alliances lie, let's run through. Let's because I was trying to think about this last night, and I watched this movie very late, so maybe it does track. But David Warner has the Necronomicon, and he's ultimately revealed to be the big bad. He's the one that is trying to summon the old ones and sacrifice his daughter. And the Necronomicon gets stolen at the behest of Clancy Brown. But then we find out that that was all supposed to happen, and Clancy Brown and David Warner are working together, and they scheduled this. But also, like, Willis stole the Necronomicon and gave Clancy Brown the fake one so he could sell it back to David Warner. But David Warner was working with Clancy Brown in the first place. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they had to make this whole hullabaloo of stealing it and giving it back, because
so
they're working together. I mean,
did
they're not, but they are.
did 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 Clancy Brown order it to be stolen? I thought
Yeah.
the guy just like wanted to steal it. It was like as a show or something.
No, because he's he has the money. I mean, it ends up being fake money because he
Oh yeah,
expects
yeah.
the double cross. But like, he wants the Necronomicon, I guess, so he can sell it back to David Warner. Is the idea? Like he's
I
planning on turning a profit, but they're working together. He's going to become a god. Like this,
I
there's no reason for this movie to happen.
I do think maybe part of it is like it's a sign of like distrust between them. Like clearly, like we see that because like uh yeah, I don't think they trust each other fully. Like
I
maybe he wants to
guess.
hold on to Necronomicon or whatever. I don't know.
Because he is ultimately kind of working with Julianne Moore, who ends up being bad also. But also he's not, because he orders the zombie to break her hand, which is a punishment enough that now she's okay. And now we don't have to worry about her being evil. And we can like be on her good side again.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
a is
I
messy.
feel like, yeah, I was definitely like, once you get to some of those plot points, I was like, okay, I'm a little lost on like, yeah, who's on which side and like, what's the connective tissue between the two. But I do think that, again, I think this comes back to the weird kind of middle zone that this film's living in, where it's like, at a certain point, like I just wasn't really taking it seriously as a
As a
straightforward noir
story,
tale as more so like this like cinda pastiche of this style with these fantastical and then also very silly elements that it's like once there's like three double crossings in a row, then I'm just like, well, like this is just like they're just like having fun with the form at this point, I guess. They're just like, this is what a noir film does, right? Like
Yeah.
it's sort of big sleep in the way where like there's that, you know how like there's that one murder in the big sleep that even the author didn't know who committed it, like
yeah.
based on the way things line up. Like there are things that we're just not like it is not the intention of the movie that we understand the plot going on. It's
Yeah.
all vibes. At a certain point, they have the Necronomicon and they're gonna sacrifice the girl, and that's what matters. As we just
Yeah.
need to get to that point and knock off enough people in the lead up that like there's a smaller cast by the time it happens,
Hmm.
so that David Warner can get eaten by the big hill beast, and then maybe Magic is dead because like the zombie falls over and the gargoyle disappears. So did they kill Magic?
I love those two. I love those two shots of like, yeah, as soon as it ends and there's like fade away. It's just like wow.
The zombie just like falls over on his
Falls
face.
over. Yeah.
Great. What an ending. Um,
I mean,
I,
clearly they didn't kill Magic because there's a sequel.
true, true, but maybe Magic's back. Maybe
Magic's
they
back in Pog
maybe
form.
maybe they just turned off Magic for a bit.
They
Who
turned it
knows?
off and turned it back on again.
Um, I
I mean,
want to
that's why
save. Yeah,
I'm really intrigued by that, by the idea of it going, going with the Red Scare communism, where it's like, well, yeah, let's see what this world's like in the 50s now, and then
yeah,
like maybe someday we would have like the 60s version of of this, but yeah, I don't know.
yeah. We could do it now. It's not like there's any, fidelity in terms of the cast. Just make a third one. Why not?
Oh yeah.
Um,
Like
uh,
or at least I would like a remake of this movie that just takes out the bad elements and adds more magic.
yes, yeah. We'll talk about the bad elements in a bit. I do want to save those for later because I have other good things I want to say
Yes.
before we talk about the two real big question marks. Um, there were a few lines I wrote down that I
Yes.
liked. It's a snappy script. It hits that noir patter. Like
Yeah.
the dialogue feels very 40s. It doesn't feel like we're doing like modern day throwback pastiche. I like after the Julianne Moore double cross where she's like throwing it in Lovecraft's face of like you had to get involved, and she goes, "Who died and made you Jiminy Cricket?"
That
And
is what I wrote down.
he goes, "What was I supposed to do? Go to the movies?" It's great. It's so good. I liked Clancy Brown when they're in the car going to this sort of this uh the big ending climactic thing where he goes, "You're a funny guy, Phil. I bet your dying words are going to be a scream." I love their patter because they're like their whole thing is they used to be partners. They were both cops,
Mhm.
and then Clancy Brown was on the take and got found out and got ousted. And then it was maybe Julianne Moore led him to go on the take by like seducing him because she ends up being evil. And it was all for the sake of getting him this nightclub and this power so that then he could do the Necronomicon thing. Again, I don't really
Uh-huh.
know the
Uh-huh.
logistics of it all. Um, I really liked Hippolyte. I thought that was a really fun character. The like she's she's your sort of stereotypical voodoo lady
Sure.
and all that, but she was really fun.
Yeah.
I She's his landlord. Ultimately, he like rents space in her
Yeah.
building where she also teaches dance classes. I liked the runner where he keeps accidentally handing out her business card instead of his own.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted that to come back at least a third time, but that was fun. But I like when she's like, "Oh, I'm getting out of Dodge. Bad stuff is happening. All the bad planets, all the wrong planets are going to be in the right places at the wrong time, and all this stuff." And her big plan to escape this is going to Florida.
Of
It's great.
course. Yeah.
Love her.
If
I
we're
I
shouting
want.
out if we're shouting out lines, I really liked when Fred Ward like says his birthday. He's like December 5th, same as Walt Disney and Martin Van Buren. I'm like,
Yeah,
sure.
that's very
Okay.
noir. It's very noir.
It's
It's
so noir.
very, yeah. It's just the kind of like little detail there. That's
Yeah.
great.
I've got
Um,
I've got two things. First, I have my favorite line, which is David Warner saying, "It is not a squid."
yeah,
And secondly, with Hippolyte, I wanted her to be more of a factor in the plot
yeah,
because not this movie opens with her. It
Opens.
it
Exactly.
opens with
Yeah.
her like casting a spell or something. Like, and then it's like you think like, oh, she's gonna be a major figure in this, and it's like every time she shows up, it's like I'm expecting her to like be somehow important to the plot, but then no, she's just a fun side character, which I like her, but it's like I wanted more importance from her.
it kind of reminded me of there's the 90s point and click the Gabriel Knight games, if you know those. And in the original one, which has a pretty bit like the main guy is Tim Curry, Mark Hamill's in it. There's a bunch of people in it, but it's narrated by it's set in New Orleans and it's set around like a
Mm.
sort of voodoo cult. And the like all the the detail narration is the same sort of like you know very New Orleans accent, like older woman doing the narration, and it reminded me of that, where she's like more of a framing device than a plot point in the movie, or
Yeah.
like a character that actually has a bearing on the plot. But she added some nice flavor. A couple other lines I had written down in the first scene with Olivia, the daughter. We'll talk about her in a second. Where because everyone keeps commenting on his tie and how awful it looks, and she goes, "That's quite a tie. Put up much of a fight?" And he goes, "No, I snuck up behind it." It was great. It feels very Marlowe. It feels very.
Yeah.
And then when Clancy Brown is talking about like using zombies as servants and how easy it is to replace them, and he goes, $30 a head, come fresh from the West Indies, 6 to a box, and Tugwell behind him just goes like bonbons. It's great.
Yes, and then
It's
and then and then and then Clancy Brown spins around his chair. It bumps into Tugwell, and he like scoots out, and he like makes off this little noise. It's like "Boop," and like this little like, and the caption says whimpers, and I was just like, this is so like it's just such a, again that character is just I love that dynamic
yeah.
there.
He's I love the casting runes, which they never explain. They never explain like what
No.
that means, which is great because I don't want them to go into this is what it means to cast runes. All we know is he writes down some runes on a piece of paper, has the waiter go give him to Lovecraft,
Yeah.
and then nobody wants to look at them. And then the one fry cook accidentally looks at them, and it
Uh-huh.
summons a like horse skull beast out of the oatmeal, which attacks the waiter, and they toss it in the freezer. That was a great action sequence. I really loved that. That creature effect
Yeah.
looks fucking gnarly. That looks so good. I had like the I was watching this just on my laptop on HBO, and the like quality dipped for a second, and I rewound so I could see it in better quality because
Yeah.
it's so fucking good.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I like when that scene happened, I didn't totally understand how the runes worked just because it's like Lovecraft looks at it. Like he looks at the runes, he realizes what they are, and like gets mad and runs off. So it's like he doesn't activate them there. So like how long do you need to look at it?
I
And
wonder if
or
you have to just like read them all.
yeah, like
Like if it's like he read the first two, was like these are runes.
Hmm.
I know better. I know better than to look at the whole thing, and it's just the one dumb fry cook who like doesn't know any better.
Mhm. Or isn't it it's the waiter who ends up looking at them though. It's because he's the
He
one who
looks
gets
at
killed.
them to save the fry cook, because the fry cook picks it up and starts to read it, which, by the
Okay.
way, is a totally like it's a new prop. It's a new piece of paper. It
Uh-huh.
doesn't look like the other ones because
No.
they burn it. They have the shot at the end where they burn it, and you can tell they like burned the original one, and then like fuck, we didn't do a pickup shot of the here. Do a new one real quick. It's different dimensions. The like
Yeah.
the lines of the runes are much thicker. It doesn't look the same at all, but it's the one cutaway shot. But yeah, I think the waiter grabs it and reads it to save. It's a noble sacrifice, I guess, to save the idiot fry cook.
Hmm.
Sure. Yeah. You know,
Oh.
while we're shouting out like things that just like smaller things that like I enjoyed, like the matte paintings that they would
Yeah,
occasionally use, and I'm just like
Hmm.
just for these like brief transitions, but again, just in terms of like creating this like fantastical LA, while also sending up that kind of era of Hollywood, I think is just some really fun stuff to see.
it looks so beautiful. Like the colors are all really striking. You could not make if you try to make a movie that looked like this today, they would take you out back and shoot you.
Hell yeah.
Like the colors are just they pop so well. A lot of that, it really writes itself a check with the Blood Rain. That just like
Yes.
now you can just wash scenes in red and
Yeah.
have a storm going at the same time, and like it's really setting itself up for like, okay, well, this is what this is gonna look like. But it's so fucking effective.
Yeah.
Like the one shot that like I that told me like, oh, this movie goes hard is a shot of David Warner looking out the window and the window becomes red with the rain and it's like a screen captured sound of the Gordon. It's just like this movie fucking rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Because
is the best looking movie we've done.
Because there, especially that moment, there's no like it doesn't like have to like hold your hand through it. It's just like all of a sudden you just see it on the window and you're like, oh, like this is this world, right? Like this
It just
is,
it rains blood sometimes.
and then Fred Ward's like, you're like, oh, the forecast said it was going to be clear today or something. And it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, it's just like it's their daily life. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Time for the bad stuff.
Do we want to start with Lily Silverwar
Let's
or
start
Otto?
with Lily, but we'll get
Okay.
to the ending
We'll
badness
get
later.
to Otto Grimaldi, the ethical pedophile.
Shut up. Oh my God.
we'll we'll get to that. But Lily,
Well, I'll lead the way on Lily.
yes. How about you lead
It's
us,
my
Eliza?
territory.
Yeah, yeah. Give us your take on Lily.
So we'll just ex start off explaining like what the character is. So she is a transgender woman. She is the girlfriend of whatever his name is, the guy who dies at the
Willis.
beginning in the bathroom. No, her last name was Willis, but I think
Oh,
the
right,
guy is somebody else.
right. What
Uh,
is his name?
I don't
Um,
know. I'm looking through this cast list. I can't figure it out, but does not matter.
I'll pull it up.
Um,
It doesn't matter, but just for my own sake, because I've been calling him Willis, but I got the names mixed up.
yes, and
Um,
so Miss Detective
Mickey
Lovecraft.
Lockstetter,
Oh
which
yeah,
is again great noir name, Mickey Lockstetter.
thank you
Great names
for putting that in
throughout.
chat, Logan.
Oh, what do we got?
Oh, you just
Yeah,
put
the
Mickey
Mickey.
Oh,
question mark?
Mickey. Yes, thank you, thank you.
Yes. Anyway, so Lovecraft goes to meet Lily, and immediately he just like as they go to a private room, he just kicks her down on the ground, and then like
Well, he punches her in the face, right?
oh, it punches her and kicks her. Yes,
Yeah.
just beats her up, and removes her wig, and just immediately starts calling her her dead name and misgendering her. And it's just like it's just so bad to sit through as he's like interrogating her, trying to figure out like why she has the Necronomicon or like wherever it is or whatever. And it's just awful to sit through. It's like it's the most dated thing. And then of course at the end, Gargoyle comes in, blows up the room, and then sticks its arm through her to kill her. And it's just like
Hmm.
great.
Yeah.
Great. Love this. Love this. Ugh, it is just it's almost comical how extreme it is in like the data transphobia. It's like
Hmm.
it is the entire trope you would expect, which like in a more like overtly parody movie, this would come across as like, oh yeah, this is a parody of like these tropes. But no, this movie takes itself a little too seriously for this to be
Yep.
seen as like a satire or anything. This is just it's just bad.
And the
It's
scene itself is not in any way like, there are certainly scenes in this movie that are funny and that are like played for it. This scene isn't. It's just played as like, exposition dump, wrap up this little mystery where we've been trying to find this chauffeur that ends up being Lily. And it's uncomfortable. It's gross. It also like it is a transgender character as plot beat. Like we've been trying. It turns out Lily
Hmm.
Serwar is an anagram of her dead name because that's how that works. That's
Hmm.
definitely
that
how trans
that's
people
that's
pick their
definitely
names. They just do anagrams of their dead names. Um, and also there's like a whole thing where once Fred Ward starts like once he takes off the wig and like calls her dead name, she drops the voice. She starts like you
Hmm.
know talking in a more masculine voice and everything, and like
yeah.
what's going on with it like it feels kind of like the movie is confused as to whether this is a trans character or
Yep.
a character in hiding, like and is just this is a disguise to escape Harry Bordon or whatever, because the movie doesn't care enough about the character to define anything about her and her life.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's a gross scene. It's uncomfortable, and I clocked it from early on because once you see her in the depot and she
Yeah.
doesn't talk, and like I noticed that the wig was a bad wig, and then from there I was like, whoa, what's going on with this character? What does this look? And
Yep.
then later when I was scrolling through the cast list on Wikipedia, I was like, oh, we're doing this, and so I
Hmm.
was bracing for this scene, but it was still very bad. It was a
Yeah.
bad reveal handled poorly.
It is just totally bad.
Yeah. I think that, like you said, it just, because even when you see the initially at the train, it's like, I guess, could be a disguise thing. And then when you get the scene, it's like, well, it's not. But the way that we just see that scene through the eyes of Lovecraft, who even at that point, like up until that point, hasn't been like that morally gray of a character or what have you. But like the fact that we're following his, like looking down on her and like you said, taking the wig off and like all that stuff, it just
Multiple slurs.
multiple slurs. Yeah. It just felt like a shift for the character, and then like for the film, it's just like, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, like
it's very Ace Ventura. It's very just
sure,
like a topical punching bag of the time.
yeah,
and it's just like he doesn't treat anybody that poorly in the rest of the movie. It's
exactly, yeah,
it's so targeted.
yep,
It's it just feels so awful.
And to move into talking about the other bad, he is more gracious to the cop who had sex with a 16-year-old than he is to Lily for existing.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. And yeah, let's get into that fucking ending. Gordon or Logan, whichever you want to take the lead on it.
I
Logan, do you
don't
want to
feel
talk about
here's the thing. I don't feel like I am very versed in unicorn lore, apparently. This is
I do think that is something that
that's a
that
historical,
has
I
precedent
imagined.
in legend,
Yeah,
that like unicorns are only visible to, or only
sure.
because they're such a pure beast. The
Yeah.
the lore that I feel like I've heard mentioned elsewhere is that they can only be tamed or caught or whatever by virgins, and
Wait,
Okay.
so
I'm realizing, have we even talked about Olivia at all?
I mentioned her briefly by name once. But
Well,
otherwise, because she said the line
yeah,
about the tie, about
because
did it put up
yeah,
much of a fight?
which I think like I think it's worth talking about, yeah, her introduction as well, just that initial, and like yeah, I think it is kind of, the fact that they make her kind of this like upper class, kind of like, doing hunting for fun, but it's hunting unicorns and everything. And then once she has that scene with Lovecraft, and like they established that she's 16, and already like, the some of the talking points were like, and I just want to point out this actress Alexandra Powers, not familiar with
Oh
her
yeah,
very much, but on her Wikipedia it says an American former actress and Scientologist. I just love that that's her that's her
Oh,
Wikipedia.
fun.
That is
Um,
her job, her
yeah.
profession as listed by Wikipedia.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so this is that David Warner is sacrificing his 16-year-old virgin daughter um, to gain access to the powers and everything. But in the end, we find out that she's not actually a virgin anymore because she slept with this definitely middle-aged detective who is supposed to be supervising her. And the movie then plays that as like almost like a sitcom ending where it's like dun dun dun. It's like you saved
Yeah.
the world. It's like
Again, Otto Grimaldi, ethical pedophile. He
yeah, I
saves the
mean
world. Like it, he saves the world by having sex with a 16-year-old.
yes, yeah,
Like, and she's only upset about it because she finds out he's married, and he's only upset about it because his wife might find out. He has no
exactly.
reaction to finding out that she's 16.
Yeah.
It's a wild ending. It's and like it got to a point where because Lovecraft knows that this whole ordeal has to go down with a virgin. It has to be a virgin sacrifice, and he figures out that Olivia is the virgin in question, and then he sends Grimaldi to go watch her.
Mhm.
So I thought his plan was, hey, here's this scumbag cop I hate, who's fucking around with he's he's the one who gets socked at the beginning by the woman that they hired,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
he's not a good person. I figured his plan was, hey, this girl is like super fucking horny because that's
Mhm.
the only characterization they give her. She's throwing herself at any man she can. And this guy is horny and a scumbag. I am purposefully going to set it up for this to fuck up the virgin sacrifice. I thought that was his plan, but he is just as surprised by the fact that it doesn't work out and puts it together
Yeah.
like, Otto, you fucking creep, but like with a smile on his face. You saved the world. I thought that was his plan all along,
Mhm.
but no. He just sends scumbag pervert Otto to watch this girl. It's wild. It's really fucking weird.
Yeah,
It
and,
is.
and
Yeah.
he's talking like, oh, they're gonna put up a statue of you, and it's like you're gonna be famous, like because you fucked the 16-year-old girl.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
more or less how the movie ends.
Mm,
Uh, other than the one cutaway back to the office, and I guess he's on good terms with Julianne Moore again.
they kiss. They're
Yeah,
good, but
even though
she's in jail.
she held him at gunpoint and
Yeah.
killed.
Called
Yeah,
him Jiminy Cricket. Cricket.
yeah, she does kill Harry, Clancy Brown. So at least we got that taken care of.
Sure.
Uh, but
Sure.
yeah, she's in jail for his murder, and it's over.
One thing, we were talking about Grimaldi, and I like after he gets hit by the girl at the beginning, the chief or whatever says, "Get up, Grimaldi," or people think you've never been hit by a dame before.
Yeah, that's fun. That's good.
Just really
Um,
setting up that he's a piece of shit.
yeah, Grimaldi fucking sucks.
Grimaldi sucks, yet he is technically the hero.
The
He
hero.
saved the world.
He
He's
saved
again,
the world.
he's the ethical pedophile.
You keep saying that.
I picked it up on a podcast that I listened to, and I don't know if it's a thing that comes from somewhere or it was just a thing someone said once, but it's a phrase that has stuck in my mind, and
Sure.
it applies here. And then it ends with Lovecraft has the Necronomicon to keep it from falling into the wrong hands, I guess. Or it's ambiguous. Maybe he's going to end the world. Who knows?
Who
Maybe
knows?
he's going to use it in 666 years when everything aligns again. I did do some math backwards. 666 years prior, and then again before that, does get you to the year 616, which is the other mark of the devil. So it's 1948
Oh,
for a reason. It lines up because
Oh.
cool.
if
Yeah.
you added another 50 years to make it 666, then you're set in 1998, and that's no fun. But
Mhm.
616, still a mark of the devil. 1948, noir times, it all works out. Had to have been intentional. Can't have been an accident, because otherwise, what a fortuitous coincidence. But
I
Sure. Yeah.
I I honestly can't decide whether or not that would have been intentional. It's like part of me thinks like why would they have done 616 and not just 666? But
Oh,
then also
because then if you do the math from there, it brings you to 1958 or 1998.
oh yeah, true, true, true.
It doesn't let you do it in noir times.
Okay.
So
And
those
we
50
gotta
years
have it
are
in
crucial.
noir times.
Well, yeah, because that's the movie.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
Uh
Yeah.
yeah.
but but actually now that I'm thinking about it, it's like what if we did like a new remake of this where it's like uh where it is like set in the 90s, like it's very like The Wire or something like that.
Yeah. That could
It's
Mm,
be
like
fun.
yeah, no, I could totally see that. Yeah.
hell yeah.
I we should write a script for a new Cast a Deadly Spell.
I mean, again, I think the foundation here is so solid.
It's rock solid.
Yeah.
Um,
When it comes to magic in a modern setting from the 90s with your healthy dose of transphobia, there are worse options to go for. You
Hell
could go
yeah.
for a particular other franchise that
Yeah,
I was
like
going to say shall not be named, but that's maybe too on the nose, which we're just gonna move past that. That this is
yeah,
whatever.
the thing is it's like if you have me like still actively recommending this movie even after that fuck ass scene, it's like
mhm.
that's a sign this is a really good movie.
Yeah, this is despite it all still one of the best we've talked about. Certainly in the top 10, maybe not top 5, but it's still in the upper tier of movies we've talked about. It looks great. It's really well put together. Cast is great. Premise is great. Delivers on it mostly well enough. And there's I don't know, it's really good. There's a reason I was drawn to this one, I think, and despite a few hiccups, I think it lived up to my expectations.
Who would y'all cast as H.P. Lovecraft today?
Ooh, yeah, who like fits the Marlowe kind of. My first thought is Oliver Platt, and I don't know why,
I mean,
but
I
maybe
could see
Oliver.
him.
No, Oliver Platt is like the Charles Hallahan type, as like
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
exasperated
or
head
even
cop.
Clancy Brown.
Yes, yeah, bring Clancy Brown back.
yeah,
Why not?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
no, I
Um,
meant Oliver Platt as Clancy
oh,
Brown's
as the
character.
Clancy Brown type.
As
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
I could see that for sure. Yeah.
No,
Uh,
who's a good
my
fit
mind
for that
always in
now?
these situations always defaults to John C. Riley, but I don't know like voice wise, but I would love to see like I don't
Ooh,
know.
how about Josh O'Connor?
Okay.
I could see
Yeah,
maybe it's just because of the Elliot Gould like comparisons, and that brings me to Marlowe, and that brings me to this. But
sure.
hmm
or
Uh, how about, hear me out, Coleman Domingo?
yeah, I like that. I
Yeah.
don't dislike
I
that.
want to see Coleman Domingo use magic.
I
Ooh,
could see Coleman Domingo as the Clancy Brown type. He gives me much more, you know, big bombastic sort of like
Is this
crime
your
boss, like, but also
yeah?
runs a nightclub and everything. I
everyone
want
go
to
see
see.
The Running
Yeah.
Man in
I was gonna, it's
theaters
very
soon.
Yeah, yeah,
synergistic with Running Man
yes, yeah.
right now. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say Glenn Powell for H.P. Lovecraft, but
Uh,
Actually, actually, maybe.
well, maybe
I
as a
think
hitman. I don't know.
yeah, I mean Hitman, I read Fletch recently and I got kind of Glenn Plow vibes from Fletch. Definitely not the Chevy Chase adaptation
Yeah,
of it, but like I don't know. I think like yeah, we could have you could have a lot of fun with like putting in like today's somebody in that lead role and then just filling it up with those B C level people, throw Bill Camp somewhere in there or something. Like
Hell
ooh,
yes.
I've got my answer. I know who I want to play H.P. Lovecraft. Alden Ehrenreich.
oh
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
think I think
I think
he has the face for it. He
he
feels
has the face
very
and
like
he has the face and he has this like similar to Josh O'Connor, but I think they both have this kind of like mumbly quality to their like just how they enunciate and talk. And I think like he would be like, you could just see him with kind of a loose collar, you know.
I can
And
see him sneering in a shitty apartment office, throwing these quips around, wearing a bad tie. I can see that for Alden Ehrenreich.
yeah, yeah,
Sebastian Stan also I think could work really
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
uh-huh.
There's a lot of options. This is not as defined a character that it has to be, one particular type. You can go all sorts of ways for it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a role previously played by Fred Ward and Dennis Hopper. Like
Yeah, no, not a lot of through line there.
No.
Not a lot of connective tissue.
anyway, I think we're rounding out the episode. So it's like for once, Gordon, I'll let you like let our guest promote things.
Yeah, Logan, do you have anything you want to plug?
You know, not particularly. I'm just watching movies. I don't have any
Yep.
like product, you know.
Any movies you've been watching lately you want the people to go out and watch?
Honestly, again, I think if you have Tubi and if you like Cast a Deadly Spell, maybe throw on a movie called Defenseless. If you like that kind of erotic, sleazy, legal type of thriller of that late 80s and early 90s, the quality is not going to hit up to the point of, something with Michael Douglas or like a bigger kind of Hollywood production, but it's a solid mid-budget, like very twisty, ridiculous kind of thing, and it's got JT Walsh. Like, how much more can you ask for in the end of the
There you
day?
go.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah.
I am going to recommend, as for a movie to watch if you would like to cast a deadly spell, Bright.
Fuck off.